Suzanne Bissett. I'm here on the Today's Patio set, and just being here, you know what? It makes me hungry. All I can think about is barbecue. And if you've ever had Phil the Grill's barbecue, you know how delicious and mouth-watering his ribs, his brisket, his pork, his chicken really are. So since I'm so hungry, I decided to take a drive down to Trapp Haus in Phoenix, where Phil is showing me how he takes a huge brisket and turns it into an award-winning piece of meat. Take a look. He's been referred to as the Jay-Z of barbecue, or you may have seen him on Food Network. We are so excited to be here at Trapp Haus Barbecue, right here on Roosevelt Row, with the one and only Phil the Grill Johnson. So great to see you.
So great being seen, definitely. I'm glad you're down here finally at the Trapp Haus.
It's amazing. I'm so glad I'm here. And let's talk about this beauty, because if I saw this at the store, I would keep on walking.
I'm sure. You know, this is a brisket, and it's a little bit intimidating. Everybody loves to eat it, but they kind of stay away from it because they're so scared to cook it.
That's why we go to you.
But I just want to kind of go over, you know, what to look for in a brisket, you know, when you see it in the supermarket. These are two different cuts of meat. So this is a whole packer. And the reason why it's called a whole packer, it has a lean part, which is your flat, and then you have your deco. So it's actually two pieces of meat. This is going to be more of your fattier side. This is going to be more of your lean side. So if you like those Kansas City burnt ends, you definitely want to use the fattier side, and then this is good for like slices and things like that. And it's not too much to trim it, you know, you just get a nice little fillet knife and just kind of follow the, you know, fat caps. And you just don't want to go crazy, you just want to take some of the fat out because it won't render down during the cook. And whether you cook it in the oven or on your smoker or on your grill, don't be afraid of it, you know, just trim it down to what you need to use, and there's always something to do with the leftovers. What you're trying to do is get some of this top fat off, only because when you put your rub, you want it to penetrate into the meat.
Okay.
With the fat, it's just gonna sit on top and it's not really gonna
soak
drop
down
the flavor in. Yep. You can almost see the two muscles and the two different grains, and you always wanna slice between the grains. And it's hard when you have it together because one grain is going one direction and the other grain is going the other direction. But if you see right here, that's the fattier part of the meat.
Yes.
And then now you can see the flat side, which is a lot leaner.
Okay, so I've trimmed it up. Now what do I do?
You want to put a little bit of, I like to put like a little bit of vegetable oil, and then just take your rub and then just sprinkle it.
And I know a lot of people are asking at home, okay, Phil, rub. What kind of rub?
So
you have that answered for us.
So you know I have one of the top 20 rubs in the planet by the American Royal, and it's called Rub Me All Over. It's in Ace Hardwares or Barbecue Islands. And basically you just want to get a nice covering, you know, over the brisket, and then as you let it sit, and it sits at room temperature, you can kind of see your rub starting to penetrate into the meat.
Yes.
It's called meat sweats. And that's basically that it's marinating. It's like starting this marinating process. And what I like to do is I like to like work on it when it's cold and let it sit there and kind of come up to room temperature. And the same thing you kind of do with steak. You know, before you put anything on this smoker, you want to kind of let it come up to room temperature. Yes. And it's a good time for the rub to penetrate in as well.
Okay, so we have it all rubbed. It's been resting. What do I do next?
Now, either you could kind of put this in your oven if you wanted to just, you know, oven bake this, right? You could put that in your oven. I would add, if you like a little smokiness, if you're doing it in the oven, add just a little bit of like liquid smoke, you know, to it. You want to put it in your oven for like about 300 degrees. Once you have a internal temperature of like about 156, what I would do is wrap it up nice and tight in aluminum foil, and then check it. You want it, your finished temperature should be like about 195. That would be a good part where you could slice it at. Same thing with a smoker. You just want to go a little lower on that temperature, about 275, get that smoke going, and then put that on. Same thing, cook it to about 156. Then wrap it nice and tight. You could even pour a little bit of beef broth in there to kind of start a braising thing into that tinfoil, right?
Yes.
And then finish that off at like about 195 as well.
And before we go quickly, in the oven at what you said, 300?
300.
How many hours roughly am I looking at?
I mean, you know, if you split it in half or you're just working with one section, I'm gonna say a couple of hours, maybe like 2 hours. But if you're doing something whole like this, I'm gonna say it's gonna be about 3 to 4 hours.
Okay, so we're gonna let this marinate. You're gonna wrap it up when we come back. What are we gonna be doing?
Yeah, we're gonna go into a finished one.
Oh, I cannot wait for that, Phil. Thank you so much. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're gonna show you how he slices and dices this up.